Hello and welcome to the Year 11 GCSE preparation meeting. My name is Mrs. Bassan and I'm responsible for the GCSE strategy, the main aim of which is supporting your child through their final year of school and ensuring they're able to achieve the best possible results. The objectives of this presentation are to make sure that we are looking at the year ahead and planning for the different eventualities, to make sure how your child will be assessed this year and the importance of these assessments, how we will pass on information about your child's progress and when that will happen, how we're preparing your child for their mock examinations, ultimately so that we can prepare them for their GCSEs, what your child should be doing at different stages, in particular looking at what good revision looks like, and then finally a short focus on how you can help them. So one of the eventualities while school is open, so these are, we're thinking about whether we're in lockdown, full lockdown, partial lockdown, but while school is open, we would expect pupils to attend at all times if they are well enough. Obviously, they need to follow the guidance and put in the effort in lessons once they are here. That includes taking advantage of all the support offered so we're able to bridge any gaps in their knowledge and their skills. This might include after-school revision sessions. It might include some Saturday sessions. If your child is absent but well enough, they can use Go for Schools where the classwork will be found to ensure that they stay up to date. If they're unsure about anything, they can always email their teacher directly. The second scenario could be if we have to send just a year group home. So if we have to send Year 11 home, pupils very much need to take ownership of their learning and ensure they're able to access Go for Schools. All their work will be on Go for Schools, or the instructions of where they can access their work will be on there. It is their responsibility to complete all the work set. And if they need any support, again, they can email their teachers directly. If we have to go into a full lockdown, there will be a new revised timetable that will be issued to all pupils. There will be a combination of work that's set on Go for Schools. There might be some online lessons. There might be some recordings of the online lessons that pupils can watch. There will be a range of activities, and pupils need to ensure that they remain up to date by completing all the work set. Again, if they need support, they can email their teachers directly. The most important thing is that children should not feel that they are disadvantaged if they are at home. They should continue with their learning and continue to get support from their teachers. So, moving on to how your child will be assessed and the importance of this. We are planning 2 formal mock examination periods. We have always had 2 mock examination periods, and we feel that it really helps our pupils to understand the importance of the actual GCSEs and prepares them well for this. The first one starts at the end of December, beginning on the 7th of the, starts at the start of December, beginning on the 7th. And the second one is just after February half term. These are then 2 clear opportunities to formally assess pupils using GCSE grading and GCSE criteria. This gives us the best example, the best way to look at the pupils and see what they are capable of. And in this way, then we can see what their predicted grades would be. So we use our mock examinations and we use the data that we get from our mock examinations to help give our predicted grades. So it's vital that pupils prepare well for these mock examinations to give themselves a fighting chance. They need to ensure that they have revised, and we'll go on to what the expectation is for revision and how we are helping to prepare them in a few minutes. We also have, or we'll also have, lots of in-class assessments where we are looking at pupils and the work they are able to achieve and produce as part of their classwork. So these are important too, because it's a combination of the two things that help us to get a good idea of where a pupil is in terms of their understanding of the content, the knowledge, and in terms of their exam skills. We'd also want them, where they are weak, to attend revision sessions. Sometimes these can be online team sessions. As I've already mentioned, at other times they may be Saturday sessions. Now, centre assessed grades. Centre assessed grades are what we use when we've taken into account all of these factors. If we ever have to give a grade that we feel that the pupil is capable of achieving, we will base that on the mock examinations and the in-class assessments. Obviously, the mock examinations are the most robust. So again, it's really important that pupils prepare for these mock examinations. Last year, we had to use our centre assessed grades to give a GCSE grade for each of the pupils. I'm really hoping that that will not happen this year, but we do have to make sure that we are aware of what is going on and follow government guidance. So in terms of reporting your child's grades to you, there will be 4 formal opportunities where this is done. The first one is done in November, so your child's predicted grades and effort grades will go straight on to Go for Schools on the 4th of November. This is prior to any mock examination, so this is purely using classwork, homework, and assessments that they have done in this way. The next opportunity to report to you is at the parents' consultation evening. And I've put next to that to be confirmed, because we do need to make sure that we are able to do that. So we've just put that as a proviso at this moment in time. I would encourage you, if possible, to make sure that you are making appointments with as many staff as possible so that you can help support your child in their weakest areas and in their weakest subjects. Then you will have your formal report. This again is found on Go for Schools, and this will be available from January. This will be available on January the 27th onwards. And this is where all staff will give their predicted grade, an effort grade, and there will be comments from the form tutor, the head of house, and leadership team. And then finally, there is a predicted and effort grade that goes out on March the 17th as well. This is the final grade, and this is the one that pupils use in their final applications if they are still applying. Obviously, they will use the early predicted grades in November applications if they're applying around Christmas time or in January. So these do often change, and it's important to keep up to date. And again, if you've got any queries, you can speak to individual teachers. Now, in terms of the pupils and knowing their next steps, that's a vital part of what we're doing at the moment. So we already, as teachers, we're very familiar with the new grading structure. As parents, you may be slightly less familiar. So I've put the overview of what the old grading structure is and how it correlates to the new grading structure. So as pupils, what we need your child to do is to make sure that they have looked in, or they're starting to look at, their post-16 choices. Think about what they want their next steps to be and what they need to achieve in order to get there. In order to support them on this, there will be a virtual post-16 evening on the 22nd of October. Now, because we cannot get all the various speakers in and we cannot do a live thing, what we will do is we will upload videos and talks onto the website, and I would encourage you to work through with your child and look at the main ones that they're interested in. So it will start off, the first video will be an introductory overview to all the options post 16, because there are an array of options nowadays. There'll also be a separate video delivered by a group called Project Ask, and this video will be all about apprenticeship workshops. There will be an introduction to something called T levels, which are technical levels, which are far more vocational, and our careers advisor will be offering that, will be presenting that video. Then we have various colleges coming in. We have Dudley, Wolverhampton, Hales Owen, and they will be downloading some videos on moving on to A levels or vocational courses at their specific colleges. There will also be a few others, including university talks as well. So all of that will be available and uploaded onto our website. And the purpose of that is to make sure that your child knows exactly what they want to do next, what grades they need to get there, and that will be the incentive to ensure that they are making as much progress as they possibly can be. So in order to help our 2021 cohort, we as teachers will teach the knowledge and skills as we always do, whether that's virtually, online or face-to-face. We will give opportunities for them to practice GCSE papers and look at individual questions, and they will get lots of feedback on that. We will help them to structure their revision, looking in particular at how much time they should dedicate to each topic and the kinds of things they need to revise. We will put into place after school revisions and Saturday sessions. Again, they may be virtual or they may be face-to-face. As part of the PSHE, our tutors will teach pupils how to revise. So there's lots of ways that pupils will retain that information, and we will teach them the importance of being able to retain that information and various different ways that they can do that. So in terms of preparing for their first mock examination, which is at the start of December, it's all about getting started. So it's making sure that they make a list of all the subjects that they have to revise. All their teachers will give them a topic list, but what works even better than that is them actually accessing the specifications straight from the exam board website. So for instance, they can make notes using these specifications. There is a list of topics and it usually comes under the heading students should be able to, and then they'll give, each exam board will give a list of key topics that they should be able to know. Pupils should either tick them off or rag rate them red, amber, green, so that they, in terms of how confident they feel, they should cross-check their notes with the specification. So where they are feeling a little bit unsure, they should go back to their notes or go back to revision guides to help bridge any gaps that they have. The examination board websites include AQA, OCR, Edexcel, etc., and pupils will know which exam board each subject is. And on that exam board website, there will be additional resources. So there will be practice papers, past exam papers. There will be examiners' reports which explain what pupils did well and where they fell short. There'll be mark schemes as well, so pupils could have a go at practice papers and then look at the mark schemes. They might want to turn it around and have a look at the mark schemes first and then have a go at answering a practice paper. All of this is very good practice. It all helps them as part of their revision. There's also advice for certain sections, which papers, which questions were answered best and why. So really, the pupils who familiarise themselves with the specification and feel very comfortable with the specifications are the pupils who will do the best and achieve the best. So in terms of their mock examination, their first mock examination, it's really important they've made their list, and then it's a case of prioritising their revision. usually what pupils tend to do is the things that they feel most familiar with, they will start revising that. Really, they have to do the absolute opposite and start revising the things that they are less familiar with, because that gives them more time for that to sink in, and then they can revisit it. They must decide how much time they will need for each night for revisions and start getting into a bit of a routine. They also need to decide how much time they can put in on weekends. Some pupils will start thinking, oh, I must do revision all day, every day. That's wrong. Others will think, oh, I can leave it until the weekend before. That's wrong. It needs to be a happy medium, obviously, between the two. So in terms of you helping them with their revision timetables, it's important to map out things that they enjoy and making sure that they do have time for those things that they enjoy, putting all those things in first and then plotting revision sessions and where they can go. So they're mapping out all their topics onto their revision timetable, and they must allow time. And this is usually where pupils go wrong, especially for Mock 1. They will do their revision, and we'll look at some examples of revision. They will do that and they will feel as if they are prepared. The best form of revision is actually having a go at practice papers. So they must make sure that they're allowing enough time for that as well. Obviously, make up and follow a revision timetable. The number of pupils who make up their revision timetable and then aren't able to follow it, so they throw it out. Give yourself a bit of flexibility. They must, even if they don't do everything, it's not the end of the world, but still continue to try and follow it as much as possible. And then I think the most important thing is for them to actually start their revision and start working towards it. Once they've made a start, it's that first step, and then they can carry on. So looking at some ideas in terms of what is good revision. Revision is different for different pupils. Some people's minds work in different ways. Some people are able to use memory strategies and make up words that will help remind them of things. That does work in some, for some of us, putting things into their own words, trying to explain it to somebody else, condensing it, making unusual connections. All of these are all tried and tested methods. But what our pupils need to do, what your children need to do now, is to start working on these and see which work best for them, especially for their first mock examination. Then they can build on that ready for their second. Other examples is making sure you're condensing notes so they can use trigger words to help increase their memory. They can but what they must remember, is that notes do not equal marks. Just as other memory strategies do not equal marks, they must go back and do the practice. Flashcards are also very useful, and a lot of our pupils do use flashcards very well. It could be you've got the heading on one side and then you've got keynotes on the others. It could be that you've got questions on one side and answers on the other. Whichever way they want to use them, flashcards tend to be a quick and easy refresher. So I'd encourage all pupils to trial flashcards and see if they are effective for them. We've also got mind maps. That's a good starting point just to map out everything. Mind maps are often kept, you can pin them on your wall as a reminder, key things that you want to remember. It can start off with key terminology. You might want to add things. Colour works very well on mind maps, as do images. So this again is something that works brilliantly for some, not so well for others. So really what we have to think about is good revision can be a range of things for different people, but whatever the revision is, the most important part of it is completing practice papers. There are some hints and tips on some really good study methods, and we've uploaded this video as a separate thing so that you can watch it at your own leisure. One example I've got here is maths and what they do. So on a Wednesday, week 1, They will put into place targeted revision where they are asking for specific pupils to attend the revision sessions. They use MathsWatch as their virtual learning environment. They also have non-required work, which is already set. That covers last year's teaching. So there's lots of activities, lots of videos that pupils can watch just to help reinforce what they should have covered. If they're feeling particularly weak on a topic, they can do that independently. There's also revision set as part of the VLE, as part of the MathsWatch live programme. There will be specific revision set in the lead up to exams. There's past papers there dating from way back, even before 2017, and the questions themselves aren't that different. You can make cue cards on things that are being covered now. So that's your flashcards, your memory cards. You can purchase revision material, and that's on sale in school through Parent Pay. So we've got revision guides for maths. Pinpoint booklets are really important because they identify the weak areas that your child may be struggling with, and then link it to the videos that they can watch. So in terms of one subject, this is the sort of thing that we would be expecting pupils to be doing as part of their maths revision. Other subjects will be doing it slightly differently, but pupils have access to a whole array of revision materials. So we're moving away from the mum, dad, I'm revising, I'm reading through my textbook, or I am reading through my exercise book. Revision should be very much active, so they should have a range of things around them and they should be doing things with that. In terms of what you can do to support your child, so firstly, get them to start revision as early as they possibly can. Yes, we are still setting homework tasks. Yes, they are catching up with things that they have missed during lockdown, but revision needs to be built into it as well, and start getting them to, if we can get them to start as early as possible, so they are organising their revision and dedicating a sufficient amount of time to it, because panicking really doesn't work. They do need to be realistic. As I said, they shouldn't be spending all day, every day on schoolwork. It is about a balance. So as I mentioned earlier, if you could help them set up their revision timetable and make sure that they get that balance right. The important thing is, though, that they must make a start, and they must, in order to make it effective revision, they must have those breaks in between. And this is, again, where you can help by supporting that and saying, no, you've done a lot of work now, I need you to stop, or you need to stop, and just getting them to take time out as well. Some pupils will be thinking, actually, I'll do it later, and they're trying to put things off. And they sometimes get to the stage where they've put it off so often that they just don't feel that they can make a start. So if these are some of the reasons that they are putting things off, if they're feeling, oh my goodness, I've got too much work, get them to break it down, get them to write a list, and then get them to make a start. If they're saying, I don't really like it, get them to work as a study group. That can be an online study group where they've got friends supporting each other, maybe some incentives, some rewards. If they've got no motivation, this is where we need to go back to, what are your post-16 aims? What grades do you need to achieve? And let's get there. So with your support and our support, they should be able to achieve their goals. Having the right environment, I suppose it goes without saying that they need to be away from distractions. Some pupils say they do work better with music. Studies show that music doesn't actually help them. They might need some supervision in being away from their phones and away from media and chat sites, although at times it could be that they're using these to actually help them to revise. So they've got a study group on a chat site. So it's about getting that balance right. Obviously that, excuse me, a healthy lifestyle and plenty of rest. We'll talk about that in a little while as well. So as I said, there are lots of resources that pupils can use. Quizlet, for instance, Memorize. There are lots of questions and answers. There's lots of videos that we want them to be using. So technology is not bad per se. However, if they are, it's really about them self-regulating their behaviour. It shouldn't really be that we need to, or you need to confiscate phones. It should be that they should be able to be away from chat sites and other things that are stopping them. And there are lots of self-regulating apps. So they are aware of them. We are sharing this information with pupils shortly as part of their study skills. Sleep is a massive thing for GCSE pupils, and getting the sleep routine right now helps pupils when it comes to their GCSEs. A lot of pupils tend to say, Miss, I'm really struggling to sleep, as they get more and more stressed. The more you can do to help them develop a good routine where they are sleeping 8.5 hours, 9 hours per night, the better they will feel. So that's where they have more time in REM sleep. And obviously a key to that is avoiding technology just before they go to bed. So this is where I talk to year 11 about the importance of sleep routines, not using their phones, maybe trying to read as a switch off or doing something else as a switch off before they go to sleep, and getting into that routine. It's also important that they are able to disassociate work from sleep. A lot of pupils tend to revise on their bed, but in their brain is telling them that their bed is where they sleep. If they're revising on their bed, their brain is telling them that their bed is where they learn and think. So trying to just separate the two does help those pupils who struggle when it comes to sleep. So what you can do to support your child, we've talked about diet, sleep, routine, healthy eating, making sure that they are eating well. You can also discuss topics with them, help in terms of going through flashcards, maybe testing them on keywords, encourage them to use the specification, encourage them to practice by completing past papers. So just little prompts, so that they're back, they feel as if that you're supporting them and you're on their side. All these things really do make a difference. So that brings us to the end of the presentation. If you do need any more support, or if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact the school or email me directly. As I said, my name is Mrs. Basan, and I'm here to do whatever I can to help your child be as successful as they can in Year 11. Many thanks.